Welcome everybody, Red Arrow 23 here, time for another addition to the Boom Beach Playbook. Today we're going to be doing the Redline rocket launcher open the front line. Let's boom this beach! So we've got a couple of different ways to tackle this. I've already done a previous one before the heroes came out, and this one's going to be incorporating them. Should be good. So we got Powder Addict, he's going to be helping us out with this one. We are in monkeys right now, angry monkeys. And let's have a look, see what he's got to do. May as well do it in one-time speed because it's a fairly slow, fairly short attack. So here we go, getting all his smokes out. Doesn't lose the delay. Perfect, I like it. And then as they come out, getting all those shocks out, boom, boom, boom. And then we can drop Sparky. So there you go. The Zuka's evenly taking out most of these rocket launchers. All of the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then you are in the last 3 on the end. 12, 13, 14. So it's a great attack from PA, and then he's using GBE to clear out some mines. I like it. This is a higher health. This is a higher health one too. So those rocket launchers will probably have like 110k on them. Great attack from PA, clearing out the mines for the person who's going for the shield, and clearing out these mines on the left hand side for the core rusher. I really like that attack. So let's break it down a little bit. So you would have seen before we had the hero. We did a similar sort of attack, but we spread our Zukas the whole way across the beach, which worked pretty well, but you'll find that when you have higher health rocket launchers, it's not going to work as well. So what we want to do for that is obviously try and condense that firepower across to all of them but the last 3. And that's basically what we're aiming for here. It's usually... Well, from what I've seen, most players like to do it this way, where they have all of the Zukas lined up on the left 11 rocket launchers, and then use a universal remote nice and high up in that corner to take out the last 3. You could obviously do it the other way around. It's perfectly symmetrical. Just lining up the boats will be just different if you're not used to it. So let's have a look at the initial smoke placement. So as you can see there, he's using the what looks like the middle of the water, so like not the height, the top of the wave, not the bottom of the wave, just right in the middle there, and keeping that all nice and straight. He's going to be using that basically in line with the left, just to the right of the left rocket launcher, all the way up to just in line with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th rocket launcher. And all of those can be touching. That's all good. They don't need to be gapped. So in the next stage is drop 2 boats in each smoke. And the reason we're doing that is obviously giving them the most coverage under that smoke. We need to make sure that that smoke is low enough that the Zukas aren't peeking out of the bottom. And if we launch them in the middle here, you'd obviously peek there too. So getting 4 smokes out, 2 boats of Zukas per smoke, and then you're not going to flare, you're just going to let them walk up. And then you can see that our reference line is just above this yellow and black dotted line right on the top of the beach, and we can drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 smokes there with a bit more overlap, because you can see as they move forwards, we don't want them to peek out into these V's where the smokes sort of meet. We want a nice coverage the whole way along. Obviously we're trying to not lose the delay. The delay is the time it takes the rocket launcher to target you and fire. So none of these rocket launchers have turned to target him at all. So once he comes out of the smoke, the rocket launcher is going to have to target. If you do lose the delay, that's fine. You just have to shock earlier on the rocket launchers you lost delay on. If you lose delay on anything, you probably lost it on everything, because all of these are basically crossing over. It just means you're going to have everything shocked as soon as you're coming out of the smoke. You are very close to the beach, so the shocks aren't going to take very long to fly, and that works well for us. So let's have a look at the shocks now. All of our Zukas are getting into the all settling. You'll see a couple of them will give you a bit of a heart attack coming forwards. Right at the end of that smoke timer. The rear smokes have all dissipated. So now the first shock that I see most players do, and this is probably how I would do it. I've only done this attack a couple times, but the first attack, the first shock, you want to get that shock launcher. There's sometimes 2 shock launchers. In this case, we still want to shock the Doom Cannon, but it'll be shock launcher and these 2 rocket launchers. So that will want to be your first shock, and then from there you pick a side, any side, and basically do the middle rocket. So you want to get these 3 in one shock, and then you skip 2 rocket launchers and you shock this one. So you should be shocking 1, 2, 3 in one shock, 1, 2, 3 in the next shock, and that's basically the easiest way to reference yourself. So you get that first shock, and then you go 1, skip 2 rocket launchers, 2, go to the other end. What's that? 1, 2, 3 shocks already. 1, skip 2 rocket launchers, 2, and then you've got that rocket launcher shocked in that one, and those 6 all the way up to there, and then you'll have all of the rocket launchers shocked. So let's have a look and watch that in action. I'm not sure if he's going to do that from right and then from the left, but let's see. So first shock. He's coming in super late because he can use that entire delay. I suggest you might want to shock a little bit earlier, because it's obviously better to have a lot of damage with all your Zukas than a little bit of damage with some of your Zukas. But let's have a look. He timed it perfectly. So he did it basically opposite to me. He went left rocket launcher, missed 2, and then the same on the other side. And then as soon as that happens, the Zukas are just going to start clearing, and they're not going to be looking for any particular flare. None of them are tagged any more than the others, so they're just going to take them out. They've already found their target naturally, and they're just going to fire. Then once you've done that and everything's shocked, as soon as you're ready, well, do all your shocks, and then you're dropping Sparky. You want to drop her as high as you can on the right hand side of the beach. And then as soon as she gets to a spot, as soon as she lands, really, you can drop, you can press UR, because as soon as you press UR, she's going to look for the closest target. It's going to be one of these 3 rocket launchers, but you want to be as far up and right as you can, so she doesn't go off trying to find this rocket launcher. So here we go. The Zukas are doing their damage, and that Sparky is up on the right hand side, and there's no timing to this. You just hit universal remote, she'll target one of them, hit universal remote again as soon as you're ready, and then the next one's going to get targeted. All of these boom cannons in behind should be doing major damage. If you're lucky, there might be a doom cannon in there as well, and then you're getting all of those defenses. You can see that he could maybe go for this last one, but he's already got the last few Zukas just popping off. This one on the right's UR'd, so it's going to go down. And now he's already looking at clearing mines. You can use the rest of your BART to take out these rocket launchers if you need to. That's just something that you're going to have to think about. Maybe the next attacker is going to have to go and take some rocket launchers anyway, so don't bother. Someone could use the WR on those 2 remaining rocket launchers, flare down, and then do whatever you're doing with the rest of your attack. And you can see that he's clearing mines out for the next attacker on this barbed wire. He's clearing them all the way up, actually. So if you're doing like an HC shield rush, then this will be the way to go. Clear the mines really deep. If you're just doing like a rifle Gren attack, then you can obviously just, well, not obviously, but you can just clear the mines just past the barbed wire. I'm going to try and get that video out soon as well. So here we go, he's clearing out all his mines, and then he's thinking ahead, and he's already going for the mines for the core rush as well over on the left. So here you go. All of the Zukas are just going to die to the boom cannons. You definitely want to just let them go. If they can take out a few boom cannons, then that's going to help the next attacker, potentially, depending on which way you're going with this attack. So let's have one last look, and then we'll switch over to the alternative tactic. So here we go. We're going to be using the midline of the, well, you're just going to use the water as your reference point, 4 smokes, and then drop your 2 boats of Zukas in each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, using just above that yellow and black line. Obviously, don't want to have any gaps if we can avoid it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shocks. As soon as those shocks are done, drop Sparky in the top right hand corner, and then just start hitting their universal remotes. You can get 3 universal remotes out. This is a great hit for a 6.4. You have to calculate your GB if you can do it with a 5.5. You will have taken out a few rocket launchers by the time you're doing that 3rd universal remote, so keep that in mind. And then once all the magic has happened, you can use your BART for whatever you please at the end. So great attack from PA. I'm definitely going to be using this one next time we have Redline and we need to take out those front rocket launchers. So it's a great demo for that one. And let's have a look at the alternative tactic. Alright, so let's check out the next technique. We've got PA taking us through the moves again. So let's have a quick look through and then we'll break it down. There you go, 4 smokes, 8 boats of Zukas, get the second line of smokes out, and then he's dropping Sparky. Interesting. She's under the smoke of everybody else, and he's UR'd those left ones. Slow it down to regular speed. And he's UR'd 2 rocket launchers, so the shock blaster is going to be firing into them the whole time instead of ripping up his girls. And that is awesome. It's going to help him take down the rocket launchers and provide a distraction. So there we go. All those rocket launchers are going to go. Oh, you got the UR on the last one. That went well. And this is a super high health one. This one, I think it's still reasonably high health. It's a 300 base. Alright, so let's break that down. Does a bunch of mind clearing at the end. Not a big deal, whatever you need to do. So let's have a look at the attack. So the main reason we don't want to do it the other way that we just talked about is because if we did that, this shock blaster is just going to rip into you. You can't really shock it unless you, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shocks standard. And then if you want to shock the shock blaster, it's basically its own shock. You can't combine it with anything. You could maybe try and get crazy with some Foreign Alliance shocks, but I don't suggest it. So just because you got to do so many so quickly. So when there's something in the back that you basically can't afford to shock, this is a really good technique. All you're going to be doing is the standard 4 smokes, then 6 smokes. And when you drop your Zukas, you're going to have to drop Sparky in one of those smokes. So you've got to position that well. So let's have a look. First things we're going to do is the smokes, and we're going to be using the reference mark of the water again. The reason we dropped the Zukas first is because Sparky is a little bit quicker. So if we dropped her first, then she would, you would have to do your second line of smokes a bit quicker. So we've got, when you're dropping these, obviously wherever you're not dropping Sparky, you can just drop them in the middle of the smoke, don't have to worry about it. But we're going to be dropping Sparky in this boat here. So we sort of got to remember that we're going to have to be dropping 3 boats in this smoke. And we don't want to peek out the side. So you sort of have to just skew off to the side a little bit. And just remember that that's what you're going to be doing. So 2 boats of Zukas that are positioned a little bit good. And then it will just be 2 boats, 2 boats, 2 boats. When we're lining this up, we're going to remember that we are going to be URing 2 of these 3 rocket launchers probably. Or rocket launchers in this vicinity anyway. And because of that, we want to sort of have our Zukas a little bit spread to the right. So we don't want to have too many Zukas firing at these left rocket launchers when we can spread the damage over to the right, and the universal remote ones are just going to take care of themselves because the boom cannons and shock blaster and stuff behind them. So that's sort of the reasoning behind that. We do want them a bit more spread because we're not just letting universal remote take out these 3 and we're just focusing on these, or vice versa if it was these 3. So we need to spread the Zukas out a little bit more. And let's have a look. So then our next line of smokes can come out. You can have dropped Sparky before then. PA doesn't, and he's using that reference mark of just above that black and yellow line. He drops Sparky last, and you see how close Sparky nearly didn't get undercover. So just bear that in mind. You're going to have to be quite quick with all these taps. You're going to be dropping 1, 2, 3, 4 smokes 2 Zuka, 2 Zuka, 2 Zuka, 2 Zuka, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 smokes, and then Sparky. There's a lot of taps in there, so just bear that in mind. You can, you could do your 4 smokes, 2 Zuka, 2 Zuka, 2 Zuka, 2 Zuka, Sparky, and then 6 smokes, and that should work. But you just have to be careful with your timing. If you lose the delay, shock early. Once we've done that, we can hit UR before the smoke expires, I believe. And then as soon as we come out of the smoke, that UR is going to shoot out. Shock Blaster might get 1 or 2 shots off at your Zukas, but then it's going to retarget onto the universal remote. As we'll be doing the shocks as per usual, so middle shock with the shock launcher and 2 of the middle rocket launchers, and then 3, 3, 3, 3, using our middle skip 2 shock. And then you can see that another thing that helps in this attack is that Sparky is dropping all of her poop critters, which is just going to provide a little bit more distraction. The 2 universal remotes are obviously working out really well, distracting. If you do have GBE, you can drop another one for the final rocket launcher. You can see that they were sort of working on this end one now. Once that goes down, we'll be looking pretty good. And there's one left on the right hand side, which we can use artillery on. Boom, left one goes down. We can use a bit of GBE for the right one, and then we can use the rest of our GBE just to clear mines. So a lot more taps, a little bit more complicated, but if you do have something that you can't afford to shock, that's probably going to be your best option. So let's have one last look at that, and then we can call this really long video complete. So we can't just do our standard, so we're going to do slightly offset to the right with gapped smokes, drop all 8 boats of our Zukas, and then we either drop Sparky or we drop our next 6 smokes, and then we drop Sparky, not wanting to peek at all. The timing on all of that is going to be quite quick. So practice that a few times before you hit universal remote while you're still under smoke, and then get your shocks ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Earlier, if you have lost the delay, shock whatever's in the back that you couldn't shock is going to be firing into that universal remote. And remember, that could be anywhere along the beach. So if that shock blaster was where this boom cannon is, you could do the exact same thing. Might not have range on your Zukas. And if it was over here, you could do the exact same thing. Remembering that it has to be in one of those smokes, and it has to have like a free range to just walk forwards. It doesn't matter what your universal remote, as long as it is going to distract that defense. If it is a laser, remember that it's going to fire through. So might not be the best tactic. You might have to do a little bit more problem solving for that one. So here we go, firing into all these rocket launchers, got those 2 universal remotes working well for us, and we're just going to be continuing to let the Zukas just take out a bunch of stuff. We can use one more universal remote if it suits, if not, all good. And then we're just going to be using GBE to finish off the hit as required. Maybe we need to clear out some mines for the shields or for the core rush, whatever we need to do. And you see that he's actually marked the shock blaster because they might want to take it out for the next hit, so that no one has to go and smoke all the way through that shock blaster range to get to the core. So there we go. That's going to take it. That's going to summarize all of the stuff that we've learned about the Redline rocket launcher open for today. That's going to complete it. Give us a comment down below if you do it any differently and why. Or if this is the first time you've seen it. I mean, it's pretty awesome, right? Thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and subscribe for more Boom Beach.